What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is I, Rainer with RTS Mobile Gaming, bringing you another tremendous Grand Gangster War video for you today. In today's video, we're going to be showing you the composition that I used to defeat my good buddy Treller. Shout out to Treller on server 19, buddy of mine. He's been in a lot of our live streams and commenting on videos, hanging out in game. Love you long time. That's what this video is about. What formation did I use? Why did I pick the things that I did? And why are some of my troop compositions very, very strange? We're going to take a look at all of those different items right after I show you this overall combat report. As you can see in this combat report, I have a number of marches on the board which are a little bit unconventional. First, I have this march is sort of a throwaway bomber march, so that is something that needs to be updated with a better combat march in the future. Maybe in another week or two I'll have a real combat march for my, my fourth slot here. And then we'll talk about the fifth slot here, which is a gunner march, which needs to be leveled up a little higher, but it is focusing on very low rage cooldowns and very high healing. You can see the healing per second is out of this world, and it is AoE healing, which is really, really tremendous. When you look at these two different compositions, again, almost identical in power against my good buddy Treller. He's got a couple 8-star, 7-star, 6-star heroes. He has some strong stuff on the board. Overall, my heroes are a little bit stronger, but his science is better, which we'll talk about later. But having a couple different marches that really focus on healing is a big, big deal, and it is going to allow me to dominate on the battlefield because I'll be healing way, way more than he is compared to all of his other marches. We also have a high damage, low rage cost, high rage generation bomber march, which is my top damage on the field. It also lived the longest because it had great healing and was able to dominate the enemies. And then we have our thug march, which is out here doing its best to tank. It is my only march that I lost. It did decent damage and it did decent tanking and healing overall, so I did its job with Daniel mixed in. And finally, our meta biker composition with Audrey, Arthur, and Oleg doing solid damage with about half the troops left at the end and a decent amount of healing. Let's talk really quick about GemZ, the sponsor for today's content, guys. You can save over 15% on your in-game purchases by using GemZ. Check the link to GemZ's Discord in my video description below. Thank you, GemZ, for sponsoring today's video. Here is how the lineup is set up, ladies and gentlemen. First off, I want to make sure that my bombers are in the back, because while they are a very tanky march that does incredible self-healing, I don't want them to be focus fired down. The most advantageous time for my bomber march is when I'm above 75% HP, and that is because we are using Amy. Amy has a skill, which I'll show you in just a moment, her fourth skill that allows you to generate Fury as long as your HP is over 75%. So we want to make sure our bombers are towards the back, therefore they can take damage, they can heal through the indirect damage they're going to receive, and stay above 75% HP as long as possible, which will also massively boost their damage output. Next, we have Tuco up in the front. This is going to be a very, very tanky march. It has incredibly high defense on this march. I'm focusing with two different defensive heroes and a hybrid defense-offensive hero with Maeda. I'm using Daniel instead of Donald because I want this to be more of a tank march. I want it to really absorb a lot, and I want it to get damage reduction and do bonus damage when it is flanked. Tuco and Daniel both have flanking bonuses, which I'll show you in a little bit. These guys work tremendously well together. They have very, very high defense, and they're able to tank for a long time. In addition, by using the Balance Flagship skill, we're able to heal ourselves and do a little bit of damage, which is also incredible. I don't know if I talked about the skill on the Bomber March. I apologize. This is a predominantly offensive march. However, Amy has defensive bomber skills. The vehicle you want is the King of Supercars. This is going to give you a little bit of damage. It is also going to give you, if I can click it, it's not letting me click it, it'll also give you a chance to regenerate 1 point of Fury every 9 seconds. While this may not sound like a lot, when you combine this with Amy's ability to regenerate 4 Fury every few seconds, this really makes this build incredibly powerful, allowing you to prioritize Theodore and Belt's Rage Ultimates. Belt's Rage Ultimate is going to do decent damage. Is also going to reduce the damage he takes by 20% and boost his healing received by 20% for 8 seconds. And Theodore does a crazy amount of area of effect damage and also reduces the damage his troop takes. So you want to be activating these two skills as much as possible, which is why we have this Rage Regen build. Claire, this is another combo that looks almost like you wouldn't want me to run it, but this is actually how the march is going to be when it's done. I just need to level these enforcers a little bit higher to get maximum value out of them. However, this is a defense-focused march that has incredibly low rage cost for the cycle. Okay, you have Carl over here with 2 rage cost, Claire and Sam with 3 rage cost. That is going to put us over there at 8 total rage cost for this troop. In addition, Claire does a crazy heal, which is tremendous. She does a great AoE heal that heals 3 troops around her, and we're using Ruling Emperor, which will also every 9 seconds do a decent amount of healing. Okay, it will do a decent amount of healing, and it will give us bonus defense, which is really tremendous. I can't say enough good things about Ruling Emperor and this Claire heal bot build. This gunner build is not here to do damage. It is not a damage dealing setup. You should be using vehicles on your heroes that give you defense or HP. Okay? Audrey is a big damage dealer. I have her in the front. She does great damage. She's using the off-road racer, which also does great damage in an AoE circle around her. And Audrey, Arthur, and Oleg together have a crazy, crazy strong offensive combo with a combined rage cost of 11. That is a pretty high rage cost, so I just want to point that out, that while they are a strong march, their rage cycle is very high, so keep that in mind. But combined with Off-Road Racer and all the rage damage they're dealing, this is a pretty strong march to go in there and slap people with. You want to focus primarily attack on this. You want to get as much skill damage as you can because Audrey gives the all the enforcers in her troop a 25% bonus damage to their skills. Arthur has one of the highest damage single target skills in the game, so having that bonus is really great. And Audrey and Oleg do great damage as well. Okay, there is definitely an argument to use the flagship on this combination. If you use the flagship on this combination instead of Off-Road Racer, you are able to generate even more healing and sustain and really do well. This march did get down to about half health towards the end, which means it was doing lower damage, but it performed pretty well. My 5th and final march, this is kind of the throwaway march. This is my gathering march. This is for gathering. All 3 of those heroes have gathering bonuses. So until I, get a little bit more cash in game and I can level up other enforcers, I'm gonna make a second real bomber march. That's not a gathering march. I'm gonna have a second real bomber march here that is gonna have Joan, and it will have a few of the other folks out there, such as Talita. And what is the last guy's name? I am drawing a blank. Oh my goodness, what a day. It'll have Jim. So I'm going to make a second bomber march as my number 5 march. Again, it'll have Joan, who's 8 stars. It'll have Jim, who's 3 stars. And it'll have Talita, who is 7 stars. That will be my second bomber march. It'll be a decent damage march because Talita has bonus damage to troops. Joan has bonus damage to her troops, and then Jim has a crazy amount of AoE healing that he can do. He's going to really complement that Claire healing march very nicely because you'll have 2 marches that do AoE healing. So positioning is really important. Having the right combination of heroes and stuff is really important. And like I was saying before, Theodore does a crazy amount of AoE damage. He hits area of effect all around him, up to 10 enemy armies. So you want him to be positioned somewhere towards the middle, not on either one of the ends. You want to make sure you're maximizing his damage output. But like I said, with Amy, oh my goodness. Amy has this number 4 ability called Mechanic. Mechanic has, as long as your health is above 75% for your troops, you can have a 10% chance on basic attack to generate 4 Fury. This can be triggered every 5 seconds, and it will also give you a 20% attack damage bonus for 2 seconds. This is a big deal. This Fury is going to allow you to really drive a lot of the more damage-dealing ultimates from Theodore, which costs 4 rage. So whenever you trigger Amy's skill, you're getting 4 rage units, which will allow you to potentially have a free instant cast of Theodore's ultimate. You also have a chance to be generating rage through the car skill, which we talked about earlier. 1 rage every 9 seconds, so that will combine with Amy's rage generation. And also, because we have a low rage cost for this troop at just 10 rage cost with all this generation, and Belt's damage bonus, damage mitigation bonus, and healing bonus lasts for 8 seconds, there is a very good chance you will have constant uptime on Belt's ability, which is really going to reduce the damage you take in making this a very tanky march. That's my main damage dealer. It's weird, I know. Get with it. Daniel's also great. Could I be using a 4-star Donald? I sure could. Could I be using a 7-star Okada? I sure could. But Daniel is tremendously powerful. He gives a lot of great bonuses that I can't say enough good things about. And when you're flanked, which is when you're in the front line of that and you're getting hit by multiple armies, you're going to take way less damage. So he really lends himself to be a tremendous, tremendous support for high tanky marches. Okay? And that, my friends, is how you generate one of the strongest PvP teams. You can also do that in the group arena. It's the same setting, right? You can move things around here. You can see I'm running the same setting in my group arena. And this is the way to do it. This is how you rock and roll and become a dominating force. I need to kill a few people. Looks like I may have been attacked. Oh, they just reset the season. So, all right, the season just reset a few hours ago. I need to actually get in here and fight some people and get back to my rank 2 spot, and that's what we're going to do. If you've enjoyed today's content, feel free... Can't speak. If you have enjoyed today's content, feel free to like and subscribe. I love you guys. Long time, Randy.